Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Power English series, where we dive into the fascinating world of idioms, words, and expressions from the show. Today, we have some interesting phrases to explore, so let's get started. First up, we have on the fringe. Now, this expression means to be on the outer edge or periphery of something, both in the literal and figurative sense. It suggests being in a marginal or less central position. For example, they lived on the fringe of the forest, or he has been working for years on the fringes of the entertainment industry. Next, we have backed by something. This phrase indicates that something has support, reinforcement, or endorsement from a particular source, organization, or entity. It adds credibility and strength to whatever it's supporting. For instance, the athlete's training program is backed by scientific research, or his argument was backed by extensive data and research. Moving on to keep something to oneself. This means to keep a piece of information or a personal matter private or confidential, refraining from sharing it with others. For example, she kept her travel plans to herself until everything was confirmed. Or the inventor kept the details of the new technology to himself until he had a patent. Finally, we have ever since. This phrase is used to indicate that something has been happening continuously from a particular point in the past up to the present, or a specified point in time. You can often use since instead of ever since, with ever since adding a bit more emphasis. For example, she has been a vegetarian since she visited that animal sanctuary 5 years ago, or I've been interested in photography since my dad gave me his old camera as a child. Stay tuned for more exciting language insights from Power English, and until next time, happy learning!
Cameron word.
Okay, so I just want to say that I saw a YouTube video, and this woman is a listener. I don't know, maybe she's listening to us right now, but
Yes.
a 작가님 forwarded the video, and she was telling her audience about what shows, she was featuring EBS.
Oh.
Yeah. And she was like, EBS is like fabulous for people who want to learn English.
Wow.
And look at audio 어학당. You pay this much money, but look at all the shows that you can listen to. And she's like, this is just amazing. But guess what?
What?
She said, my favorite one, the one that I listen to, is Power English.
Oh my goodness.
So she went on about Power English.
Aww.
And I was like, wow, that is amazing. So, she just likes our personalities and, it's a lot of fun.
Our listeners are the best.
They are.
Thank you so much for that.
I mean,
we call it a shout out.
A shout out.
Right? A
yes.
shout out saying, hey, I like this, or talking, mentioning someone that you want to say that they're doing well.
Yeah. So if you're listening to the show, thank you so much for doing that and featuring EBS, not just our show, but the other shows. But our show
is the best.
Is the best.
It is the best.
Okay.
As we've established, we're very confident that we are the best.
All right. So we've got a food dialogue for you.
Yeah.
Switching to a plant-based diet. It's no longer on the fringe.
Yes.
Okay. It's no longer just means that it isn't anymore.
Yeah.
What is on the fringe? Fringe.
Fringe is a cool word.
Yeah.
It means on the edge, especially the outside of something. It's just barely there.
Okay.
And we often use this to mean it's not mainstream.
Got it.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
Kind of on the edge of...
It's like alternative.
Not mainstream.
Yeah.
So basically what they're saying is that, vegan or vegetarian used to be kind of like, just a small number of people used to have that diet.
Yeah.
Now it's more mainstream.
Yes.
Okay. If something is backed, B-A-C-K, this is used as a verb.
Yes.
By something, what does this mean?
This means it's supported by something, often by evidence.
Okay. Keep something to oneself.
Keep it a secret. Don't tell everybody.
Don't tell. Shh. Okay. All right. But of course, we don't want you to keep Power English to yourself.
No, tell everybody about it.
Tell everybody.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and listen to our dialogue.
It's strange, but I've noticed more vegan restaurants these days.
Yeah. Ever since people started referring to the vegan diet as a plant-based diet, it's no longer on the fringe.
I guess since it's backed by mainstream science, people accept it without question.
Maybe I won't have to keep it to myself around certain friends anymore.
They're the ones with the problem, not you, Maggie. Either they understand or they don't.
That's true. I never tried to convince any of them to change.
Okay, Jimmy says, it's strange, but I've noticed more vegan restaurants these days. Okay, so there are like many vegan restaurants. And Maggie says, yeah, ever since people started referring to the vegan diet as a plant-based diet, it's no longer on the fringe. Okay, our power pattern today is ever since.
Yes.
Now, this is a little tricky because when Korean people learn the present perfect, I have been, have plus, PP, or actually present participle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Okay, we're not doing grammar. Okay. But here, it's at the beginning, ever since.
Yes.
So if you start out, what is this doing? And what does it mean?
So this phrase is used when you're saying, in the past, there is a point in time where things changed.
Yes.
So when we say, ever since people started referring to the vegan diet as a plant-based diet, when they changed the name... everything else changed too.
Okay.
The situation changed. So this phrase, ever since, is like saying, this is the time in history when the situation changed.
Okay. So what you can also say is things like, ever since I started to go to bed early, I've been feeling better.
Right. That's when everything changed for you.
Yeah.
When you started going to bed early, that's when the situation changed.
Ever since I stopped eating gluten, my eczema is better.
그때부터 쭉.
Okay. So, it's no longer on the fringe. So, the sort of vegan diet is not on the fringe.
Yeah. On the fringe means that it is kind of alternative. It's not mainstream. It honestly means it's a little strange.
Yeah.
Most often. Most people in society look at it and go, that's weird.
Yeah.
I even remember when I was growing up, vegetarian was almost normal. But if you said, I'm vegan, it's like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
You're a little strange.
Yeah, it's a little too extreme.
Yeah, it seemed a little too extreme. But now it's saying it's no longer on the fringe. It's much more accepted. And honestly, it's true.
Oh, it's very true.
Yeah.
Like, I feel even like Korean restaurants these days have vegan options. I mean, unless you go to like Seolleongtang, obviously then you're not going to go.
Yeah.
But just like a traditional Korean restaurant will have a vegan option.
Yeah.
I went to one of my favorite mandu places in Insadong, and they also had a vegan. It was like a mushroom mandu.
That sounds good.
I know, right?
To be honest, I think it has to do with calling it a plant-based diet, which helps. It sounds, it's
not so, it doesn't sound so strict.
Yeah.
And it's like plants has a good feeling.
Yeah.
Like if you're eating plants, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for you. It's healthy.
Yeah. All right, what does Jimmy say?
I guess since it's backed by mainstream science, people accept it without question.
Okay. So, the reason why people are more accepting of a vegan diet, it's backed by mainstream science.
Yes.
So, it is supported by mainstream science. Okay, so backed by.
Yeah, so backed by, in this case, we're talking about evidence. So, it's supported by. So, we often say it's backed by science, meaning that there have been lots of science experiments, and they have given this result. But you can also use backed by, not just for evidence, but for like money.
Yeah, financial support.
Financial support, or even political support. This presidential candidate is backed by this political party.
Yeah.
It's all types of support. We can use the term backed by.
So we keep using this word mainstream, and it happens to be our power vocab.
Yeah.
If you look at this word, it's kind of like the opposite of on the fringe.
Right. On the fringe is not mainstream. Thankfully, in Korean, it's just chudu, which is literally mainstream. So, I mean, that's, anything you can talk about media, music, even like mainstream society. Those are all things where there's a very clear thing that most people do, but there are some alternative kind of maybe independent, indie sort of things that other people do.
Right. And so the point here is mainstream science. So it's kind of like it's more believable because it's the science that people accept.
Right.
Yeah?
Most scientists think that.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, there's some science that's not mainstream.
That's not mainstream.
Yeah.
Okay. Maggie says, maybe I won't have to keep it to myself around certain friends anymore.
Yeah.
So Maggie is saying now she can tell everyone that she's a vegan. Okay. Keep it to herself.
To keep it to yourself means to keep it a secret. Maybe you're not trying really hard to hide it. Like, no one must know.
Yeah.
But you're not freely telling anybody.
Right.
So, like, things with, like, vegetarianism, veganism, maybe it was something you just didn't say.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want people to think you were weird.
Right.
But now, people just say it all the time.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't eat samgyeopsal with you.
Yeah,
I'm vegan.
Yeah. So keep it to yourself is like really kind of like a quiet, sort of like, you're just quiet about it. Because it's just better that way.
Yeah, it's because it's better, and it's because someone, it could be a political view, a religious view.
Oh, yeah.
A certain lifestyle that you have, that it's just better that...
You don't need to tell everybody.
It's just easier if no one knows.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what does Jimmy say?
They're the ones with the problem, not you, Maggie. Either they understand or they don't.
Okay, so you're not the problem, they're the problem. That's true. I never tried to convince any of them to change. Okay, so you're okay. Maggie, you're normal.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep it to yourself. All right, let's go ahead and listen to that one more time.
It's strange, but I've noticed more vegan restaurants these days.
Yeah. Ever since people started referring to the vegan diet as a plant-based diet, it's no longer on the fringe.
I guess since it's backed by mainstream science, people accept it without question.
Maybe I won't have to keep it to myself around certain friends anymore.
They're the ones with the problem, not you, Maggie. Either they understand or they don't.
That's true. I never tried to convince any of them to change.
Okay, it's time for Power Note. We're on pages 118 and 19. If you're on the fringe, you're like kind of at the outer edge, so not mainstream, okay? What do you think of Kaplan's newest film?
Well, the plot is a little on the fringe, but his filmmaking skills are amazing.
Yeah, so the story is a little, kind of not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great film.
Yeah.
Okay. Her ideas are on the fringe, but she is an entertaining speaker.
Yeah. Let's be honest, in the entertainment world, movies, music,
right?
There's some weird people.
Of course.
They got their personalities sometimes are on the fringe.
Yeah. I mean, artists.
Yeah.
It was so interesting because, I told you I saw that whole documentary about Einstein.
Yeah.
And man, his ideas were completely on the fringe during his time.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't believe him.
They didn't believe him, and they were questioning him. They were like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I had no idea that he had so much pushback.
Yeah.
From his peers.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
Well, this being on the fringe, it can be in science, it can be in art and anything like that. It can even be in business.
Yeah.
So someone who has a new revolutionary business idea, but no one thinks that's possible.
Yeah, that's
it's on
crazy.
The fringe.
Yeah, it's on the fringe.
And then now, later, maybe it's accepted.
Right. I think whenever there's like dramatic change, it's usually kind of considered on the fringe.
Yeah. Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
He was on the fringe for a lot of his career.
Yeah.
Like the phone that he made, that we won't talk about, we won't say the name. Apparently, that was a very controversial idea.
Really?
Because there's no keyboard. Before that phone, all the phones had keyboards.
Wow.
And he was like, we don't need it. That was a fringe idea.
Oh my gosh.
And now it's very mainstream.
Yeah, so I think what we can get out of this is like fringe, mainstream.
Yeah.
Okay. If something is backed by B, it means it's supported or proven.
Yeah.
Like it is true. All right. How do I know these vitamins are any good?
Well, they are backed by a guarantee if you aren't satisfied.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. If the vitamins are supposed to make you live longer, you're going to have to eat those things for like 20, 30 years before you know.
Oh, well, that is true. It's going to take a long time. This accusation isn't backed by evidence or witnesses. What is an accusation?
An accusation is a claim that someone did something or something broke.
Yeah.
It's often something bad.
Right.
And you need it to be backed by evidence. If you're like in a court, no one's going to believe you if you don't have evidence.
That's right. He stole the files, he stole secrets, from the company.
But that's not backed by evidence.
Yeah.
You can't say that.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. So to be backed by. And of course, a lot of these times like supplements or medication or certain treatments or therapies, they usually like to have some sort of experiments or tests, studies,
right?
So that it can be backed by real evidence that it works.
We often, in those cases, you can even just say, backed by science.
Oh, backed by science.
Science is just this big thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's backed by science, meaning it has been tested and experimented with.
Yes.
And we can kind of say that these results are true.
Right. But you kind of wonder, what kind of science? Which one? Who? All right. Keep something to oneself means to keep it a secret, to be very discreet. And I think I like the second part, discreet.
Yeah, just be quiet. It's not necessarily a secret.
Right.
It's just like, don't say anything.
Yeah, you just choose not to say it, okay? I don't think blue is a good color on you.
Why don't you keep your opinion to yourself? I want to say this to a lot of people.
Okay.
I didn't ask you for your opinion.
Yeah. Keep your opinions to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the option of staying quiet.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So this is a very common sort of expression, actually. You should keep your opinion to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. Okay, please keep what I'm about to tell you to yourself. Oh my.
This is saying keep a secret.
Shh, right. Keep this to yourself. It's kind of like, you could say, Cameron, it's a secret, but how often do we use the word it's a secret?
I feel like if you're a child, you would say, this is a secret.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah. But I think as you get older, it feels very childish to say that. So keep this to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone. Yeah. This is like totally no one knows.
Yeah.
Now, we have like different ways of saying it's a secret, but we don't actually really use that often the word secret.
Yeah, unless like you're in the government. This is top secret.
Top secret, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Ever since is our power pattern. So it means from this point on to after.
Yeah.
Okay. Ever since we got a dog, Penny has been really happy.
Aww. Ever since they discovered penicillin, people have lived longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, antibiotics.
Antibiotics.
Can you imagine? You cut yourself on a piece of paper and you
can die.
Yeah. Thank goodness we have penicillin and other drugs now to deal with.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Our power vocab is mainstream. So in today's dialogue, I would like you, if anything, to take on the fringe and mainstream. They kind of go hand in hand. Do check out the definition on page 120, and let's thank our sponsor.